Hello everyone and welcome back to some new Super Mario Brothers Wii Jumpless. This is part 3, so let's go. Now this is the finale, so we're going to be tackling World 8. So yay. Now we're going to start off today by looking at World 8-1. Or at least it feels like its own whole world because of how long it is. Now, this level has one major problem in this run. That being that when you use the propeller mushroom, let's just say you go right up to where the meteors spawn, which kind of makes it hard to dodge them. Thankfully it is possible to make it through, but it just takes some good RNG, which I was lucky enough to get on my first few tries. That and some good skill. But now I should probably mention something. We are not allowed to take the secret exit in this level, or in this world. And that's because while we are allowed to actually take the secret exit, the secret level that's unlocked is impossible. That level being a skull coaster. Now, what's so bad about the skull coaster is it moves quickly, and we have to jump over fire geysers. Now that wouldn't be much of a problem, except when we spin up with the propeller mushroom, we fall slowly to the ground. Now, this causes a problem because, well, we're just too slow to catch up with the skull coaster, and we fall behind it and we fall directly into the lava, which sadly makes that stage completely impossible. Most likely, who knows, there's probably some infinite height glitch or something to let us cover infinite distance that would let it be possible, but not to my knowledge. So we have to go along the long way through this level. Thankfully, it just adds on a few stages. Although I should probably bring something up for one of them. That being a water level. Now, when I said that swimming is not allowed in some of my previous parts, I was saying if I fall in the water, I'm basically doomed because all swimming is banned. Now, the reason I was saying that is, well, while swimming is not actually banned, jumping at the surface of water is. Basically meaning if you fall in the water, you literally have no way to get out. So, I just said swimming was banned, even though that isn't technically true. But that comes to be important a little bit later. But here we are in World 8-2, where we have, honestly, this is, I'd say, the second easiest level in this world. Just because of how many platforms there are to glide to, it doesn't make this much of a challenge. It still takes a few precise jumps, but it only took me a couple of tries. So, yeah, you just have to watch out for some spike balls, some Goombas. And yeah, everything's good in this level. So thankfully it's not too long. We could take the secret exit, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So we just have to drift along through the level and we're almost to the end. I believe we are at the exit pipe. Yep. And now we have one last hurrah to the flagpole before we can move on to 8-3. And one up. Alrighty then. So, 8-3. What do I have to say about it? Well, I guess I should start off by saying it's a little bit more difficult than 8-2. But not by much. I'd say it's the third hardest stage in this entire world. Or third easiest. So it has some tough platforming, but nothing really is nothing's really that hard. As long as you don't, mess up and fall into the lava. But thankfully, we've made our way to the halfway point. We can fly in between some of these lava waves. And yeah, this level isn't too bad, just as long as you're patient. We can make our way out of a cave. Well, the mini cave. We're still in a larger cave now. Alrighty then. So now we should be getting to the exit pipe pretty soon. After we avoid a couple of flame chomps. So yeah. Here we go. I guess I can talk about 8-4, which is coming up. Or actually, I believe it's 8-mini boss, but I could be mistaken. So we just have to go over to the flagpole. With a 3, 2, 1, propeller up and down. There we go. 8-3 is completed. So let us move on to 8-mini boss. Now, while it doesn't really have anything that's a problem, it's just a difficult stage in general, because you have to do some quick platforming, and some of the stuff would just be easier with the jump button. But thankfully nothing is really too bad. Well, except for the boss fight. But we'll get to that. For now, you can use this roulette machine, or roulette block. It doesn't really matter what you get. Even a star, which I was going for, doesn't really help that much because you run out of time with it quite quickly. When you go ahead and propeller up, don't propeller up where I was going, because you'll get crushed by that block when standing on a ledge. And that is kind of annoying. Here, it's a cool little skip. Just propeller onto the elevated platform, land on it, and then propeller to the right, and you can skip going to the left. It doesn't really save anything, it just is fun. I recommend landing on these fire bars. It makes platforming easier. Here, all I have for advice is just pray for the best. So yeah, you can just make your way up the tower. And we're almost at the checkpoint, I believe, for the mini-boss. Yep. Now all we have to do is make our way up the last couple of little tricks. This little fire bar. And now I guess I can explain why the mini-boss is so bad. Now, the mini-boss is Kamek. Or actually, it's just a Magic Koopa. I believe Kamek is the purple one from Paper Mario. A Magic Koopa is the blue ones. And then Kamela is the one from Mario Galaxy. Although I'm probably completely wrong. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Anyway, so this boss is kind of annoying because, well, Kamek moves around a lot. Or Magic Koopa. I have no idea. But he moves around a lot, and it is kind of annoying. Plus, blocks change into enemies. But yeah, it takes a few tries to get used to it. And it's especially bad when, well, he spawns under a block, because then you basically have no way to get to him, because you can't jump up to him. But thankfully, it's not excruciatingly difficult. It just takes 1 or 2 tries. So yeah, now we get to go ahead and move on to the next level, which is a water level. So I'll say in a sort of rephrased way, while swimming with the 2 button is allowed, jumping at the surface of water isn't. Meaning, well, yeah, I can swim, but you see how there's a surface to this water? I'm not allowed to jump at that. Now, you might be wondering why we're playing as Yellow Toad instead of Mario with the propeller mushroom. Well, for one thing, Yellow Toad, if we play with him, that means we can avoid having to lose the propeller mushroom. But the big thing that it is we are required to have 2 players for a trick that we're going to be pulling off. Now, something that we're going to have to do is, in a little bit, but it's going to require us to go up into a pipe that's out of water. Now, in order to get to this pipe, we're going to actually have to, well, get someone out of the water somehow. Now, if a character is at the surface of water, not actually jumping out of it, and another player in a bubble shakes the remote and pops their bubble on, well, the other player, they'll get a little bit of height, and this can be enough to push the character out of the water. Now, I recommend doing this with one character being small and one character being in a propeller mushroom, as, well, if you're a big character in water, you'll easily jump out of the water, which is not allowed. But yeah, as you saw, Mario got popped out of a bubble. He got extra height from that. He didn't jump. He got the height from popping out of a bubble. But yeah, he ended up actually being able to get enough height to clear the water and propeller himself up into the pipe, which makes that thankfully possible. But now we come up to this monstrosity of a level. Now, why am I calling it a monstrosity? Well, it's where Nintendo said, hey, you know how Mario Maker, you know how this is just in development, or it doesn't even exist yet? Well, let's do that before it does exist. Or at least that's what I think Nintendo was thinking, because it takes some ideas from Mario Maker and all the user-generated levels. What am I talking about? You're probably thinking. Well, I'm talking about the enemy spam of the bombs. And you know how I said that meteors cause, well, how they spawn right where you propeller up to? It's the same thing with the bombs here. But thankfully, there's one very useful thing in this level. That being, you can clear it without jumping and without the propeller mushroom from the checkpoint. Now, we will need Toad, and it's just for one jump, but yeah. As you can see, I do end up dying a little bit into the checkpoint. Now, I do go ahead and equip a ice flower. It's just for hits. But you might be wondering, well, how do I get to the platform that is, well, the moving platform? Well, it's because for some reason you're able to just get enough speed, barely enough speed, to be able to run off and land directly on the platform. And with that, we can essentially just let Mario ride the platform to the end. So yeah. Oh yeah, and remember how I said the bombs were enemy spam? This is part 2, with crows being enemy spam. Seriously, Nintendo. Why? So yeah. This is fun. But thankfully, it's not too bad to make it through this. And if you do end up taking damage, you can always go ahead and grab a propeller mushroom from World 1-1. It's not too much of a hassle, but you know, I guess it's fine. So we're at the exit pipe. Now, here we actually do need Yellow Toad because while we can make it to the flag, in order to get onto the flag, we have to get some height, and that's by popping Yellow Toad out of his bubble. Now you might be wondering why I'm using Yellow Toad instead of Luigi. Well, Luigi has a propeller mushroom, and it makes getting more propeller mushrooms from 1-1 a whole lot easier. Because I essentially just add in Luigi and pick him up with Small Mario, and then go ahead and grab a propeller mushroom from a, well, question mark block at the very beginning of 1-1. Go through the level, and then drop Luigi out. And he keeps that propeller mushroom as long as I don't game over. Anyway, here we are at the easiest level of World 8. Not even kidding, this is just a joke compared to what we've done before. Now, why is it so easy, you might be wondering? Well, it's a vertical level with just enough room for you to be able to propeller basically everywhere. So yeah. And the lava is rising, but it's not too much of a threat. But this is one of... This still has the possibility of causing some problems, but it's honestly just a cakewalk. Unlike the next level, which we'll be getting to. Ugh. So yeah, even the chains swinging on those aren't too bad. You just have to be careful. But with a little bit of platforming skill, you should be able to make it up to the last section of the level, where I guess it's a little bit challenging, but not really. So you just fly up into the pipe, you go ahead and grab the flagpole, and there we go. Now we can move on to the airship. Now, the airship has, I'd say, a good 3 problems. The first being at the very beginning, the second being a little bit later on, and then the third being the boss fight. So, the first problem is a little bit of a horrifying bullet section. Now, you have to avoid cannonballs, which can prove to be challenging. I'm lucky to get it on there. This section is also very challenging because you have to time your propeller upwards, and you have to basically immediately drill downwards to stop your upward momentum, otherwise you'll fly right into a cannonball. The next section isn't that bad at all. You just have to wait for the green pipe to come around. After doing so, the section afterwards also isn't that bad. It just requires some good old platforming. So yeah. not that bad of a level after those first two sections. Until you get to the boss, which that's its own problem. I'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, this little section isn't too bad. Now, this section right here, honestly probably one of the easier sections of this level. There's no real problem with it. So yeah, you just have to make it through. Now, this little section right here, right before the boss, also isn't that bad, but you just have to watch out for the Mecha Koopa. But thankfully, it's not too hard to avoid. So now we just have to make it through the last spinner. And I guess the bonus spinner as well. And then we can make it on to the boss arena. Oh boy. Now, this is probably one of the hardest boss fights that we have to fight in this run. No, I'm gonna say the hardest. Because we can't jump to ground pound. We actually have to propeller upwards. Which runs us the risk of landing directly into the clown copter. Which, if you hit the clown copter, while it doesn't damage you, it'll basically just launch you directly into a fireball. Oh yeah, and it's also very annoying to deal with the fireballs here. And oh yeah, and if you take one hit of damage, you basically have to start all the way over again. So that's fun. But for a little bit of work and probably half a dozen tries, it was done. We were able to finally get rid of Bowser Jr. and we're able to move on to the final boss. Oh boy. After a cutscene, of course. So yeah, the final boss. So honestly, it only took me about maybe 5 tries to beat the final boss. The airship is way worse. Because as long as you're patient with the final boss, you'll be completely fine. But yeah, let's go through it. So, we can start off by, well, saving our progress for one. And then we can head into the castle. Now, the castle is a little bit challenging with some of its stuff. These enemy placements can cause problems. Oh yeah, and one thing, you might have gotten used to drilling if you've been doing this playthrough. I know I have. So I've been drilling on those brick blocks and you'll fall right through them. But that is honestly easy to avoid. So then you just have to make your way through the level, collect a random one-up that was there for some reason. Good level design. Then you can go ahead, make it to this section with all these fire bars, fly up through that. Now making it in between these two, well, this gap isn't that difficult at all. Do some easy platforming, and we're almost at the end. Oh boy. So this fire bar can cause problems, but thankfully it's not too hard to avoid. Just propeller if you need to. Then we get to the final boss. I'm kidding, no. We have another section for some reason, which is essentially an auto-scroller. Oh boy. So this section isn't hard at all in any way possible. Like seriously, this is baby stuff compared to what's happened in this run. So yeah, it's just because of how many platforms there are, and if you ever do get close to the lava, you can just propeller. It's really not a problem at all. The boss, on the other hand, is a little bit of a problem. So let's go to him. So, what's the problem with the boss? Well, this first section is a little bit intimidating because of all the fire and you can't avoid it. Or at least shouldn't be able to. But you have to go quickly, and you can make your way into these little cubbies. And yeah, it's stressful though. But the actual boss is very annoying. It's not that he's difficult, but Bowser is just irritating for, well, if you try to beat him like you should. Now, the way that I would normally, or at least I tried to beat him, was by going underneath him. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. So just propeller over him. It's a lot easier. Let's just go with that. But yeah, with that, we finally beat a new Super Mario Brothers Wii jumpless. And that's definitely the final boss, and it's not going to pull a new Super Mario Bros. Like every single other new Super Mario Bros. And have Bowser become gigantic and actually have the final battle. Oh no, would you look at that? Oh no! Oh no! Who could have seen this coming? I know I couldn't have. It's not like they've done this in every single new Super Mario Bros. Fair spin. Like, at all. So, yeah, we have this last section. I died here once. But, yeah. This is not that difficult. It's intimidating. And probably is difficult. I just got lucky, I guess, maybe. But yeah, this part isn't too bad. So thankfully we can make our way through it without much problem. As long as you don't mess up. So yeah, now we get to the second section of this boss fight, which basically requires us to do platforming across moving platforms. But hey, at least it's not an auto-scroller anymore. I guess it originally wasn't an auto-scroller either, but it sure felt like one. Now we actually are running away from Bowser, not having him destroy the way in front of us. And now we're actually being led on a chase. This is good. This is fun. So yeah, we can make our way through. Just to make sure to avoid those lava waves. Man. This was actually kind of intimidating, but thankfully we did it. We have defeated Bowser without using Mario's knees a single time. Actually, we have by bouncing on other players, but that was for a pun or something. But yeah, that was New Super Mario Brothers Wii without jumping. Oh boy. And with that, we can let Peach come down and go through the last, well, the ending cutscenes. So, I guess I can go ahead and talk about what's coming up in the future. Well, as it might have just come out, or, well, yeah, I think I just released it maybe a couple of days ago, but I'm going to be doing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate without the use of spirits or the skill tree. So that'll be fun. So, yeah. So I'm going to be uploading more episodes of that, as well as Galaxy Coinless. And who knows, maybe some other challenges, but I'll probably be mainly focusing on those two. Also, I have a few mini challenges and smaller videos that I'm going to be showing off. So yeah, those will be coming out as well. But anyways, here we are at the ending cutscene. And while those NPCs that are definitely not other characters are jumping, and because they are NPCs and not other characters, I'm not restarting to run because of them. You're not messing this run up for me. You aren't actual characters. This doesn't count. You guys aren't playing. But yeah, because I'm not controlling those characters, they can jump however they want. I'm just not allowed to. This challenge has been a long road for me. Actually, this has only been a few parts. The shortest challenge I've done. But it definitely does have its difficult parts. So, in the future, I guess I'm going to be making an episode of The Games Must Go On for this. Oh boy. I can't wait for that. So yeah, here we are. With just a few more, well, minutes of credits. I try to break a few of these blocks by going underneath them, because that works somehow, sometimes. I don't think it's possible to actually die in this. This isn't Mario Galaxy 2, where it's possible to die in the credits. But yeah. So, there we go. I don't know if there's really anything else to say about this. Well, I guess there is one thing to say. And that's what is thank you. Thank you all so much for how much support you guys have given me and everything. And if you guys have challenges that you want to see me pull off, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I try to read every one. And I guess with that, thank you all so much for watching. We'll let the credits roll out, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.